Tonight, on First at 9 this Friday, the 12th of September 2025. Sri Lanka first. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa vows to return at any time and to continue to stand for a united nation. Planning ahead. Government to present Budget 2026 to Parliament on September 26th. Praising progress. Senior officials of the United States Trade Representative's Office praise Sri Lanka's economic recovery. Further discusses future bilateral trade ties with the President. President meanwhile pledges support for growth of the apparel sector. Legal trouble. Legal impediments grappling the Bribery Commission reveals its Director General. COPF Chairman urges amendments to the Public Finance Management Act to bolster Bribery Commission's independence.
Kalin baby soap රුපියල් 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms. Recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now your top story tonight, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa took to his personal Facebook account to share a statement after vacating his official residence in Vijayarama, Colombo. The statement comes off the back of the President's Entitlement Repeal Act being passed in Parliament, officially revoking the right of all former presidents to remain in accommodation provided by preceding governments. Rajapaksa pledged to return at any time if the country needs him, saying he will always stand by the nation.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa vacated his official residence at Vijayarama, Colombo following the passing of the President's Entitlements Repeal Act in Parliament on September 10th. In a personal statement on Facebook, former President Rajapaksa emphasized that he had no obligation to heed public calls or media pressure to leave the residence prior to the bill being passed into law. However, once the new legislation was enacted, he vacated the premises within 24 hours, stating that he bowed his head only before the law and before the people. Rajapaksa described the move as part of a broader political campaign targeting him, which he called a form of political terrorism driven by revenge. He reaffirmed that he has no regret about leading the efforts to defeat terrorism in Sri Lanka, saying he fought for the right of everyone to breathe freely in their motherland. He went on to say that this freedom belongs to all, regardless of race or religion. Reminiscing his decades-long political journey, Rajapaksa recalled his beginnings in the 1970 general election in Giruvaya under the guidance of former Prime Minister Sirimao Bandaranayake. He also highlighted his past work on human rights, referencing his leadership at the Human Rights and Legal Aid Centre in Tangol. Rajapaksa also drew attention to the fact that the expressway he used to return to Tangol was initiated during his time in office. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa went on to assert that he will remain the same Mahinda Rajapaksa despite the change in residency from Vijayarama in Colombo to Tangol. Despite challenges, he pledged to continue standing for a united Sri Lanka. He further claims that if anyone betrays the motherland, he will rise again no matter the persecution. The former president asserts that the people, along with the Mahasangha, will stand with him. Rajapaksa also expressed gratitude to his family for their unfettered support, particularly his wife Shiranti Rajapaksa. The former president also thanked his personal security detail. He concluded by reaffirming his deep connection to the people and the land that shaped his political career.
Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Chi Zhenghong, met former President Ranil Wickremesinghe in Colombo today. A special meeting took place between the Chinese ambassador and former President Wickremesinghe today at the former president's political office. The Chinese ambassador presented former President Ranil Wickremesinghe an invitation to attend the Chinese National Day celebration on October 1st. During the meeting, Chinese ambassador Chi Zhenghong also revealed that he met former President Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa was also officially invited by the Chinese envoy in Colombo to attend the Chinese National Day celebration.
So you've been having exciting days today? Yeah. Yes.
රුපියල් 8900ක මාසික වාරිකයකට brand new TVS X100 යතුරුපැදියක් ගන්න.
Now, the government has decided to present the 2026 budget to Parliament on September 26th, according to a statement issued by the Parliament. The decision was made at a recent meeting of the Committee on Parliamentary Business. The second reading of the appropriation bill is scheduled for November 7th. The budget debate will run from November 8th to December 5th. Parliament has allocated 6 days for the debate on the second reading from November 8th to 14th. The vote on the second reading will take place on November 14th at 6 p.m. The committee stage debate will then be held over 17 days from November 15th to December 5th. The final vote on the third reading is set for December 5th at 6 p.m. Now, senior officials of the United States Trade Representative's Office met President Anurakumara Dissanayake, where the delegation praised Sri Lanka's economic recovery and discussed future trade ties between the two nations. In the meantime, at a pre-budget meeting, apparel sector stakeholders welcomed the US tariff cuts negotiated by Sri Lanka and the digital reforms, while the president pledged support for growth and directed the finance ministry to act on their proposals.
United States Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, together with a delegation of senior officials of the United States Trade Representative's Office, met President Anurakumara Dissanayake yesterday at the Presidential Secretariat. During the meeting, the United States Trade Representative's Office praised the progress Sri Lanka has achieved in its economic recovery. The discussion also focused on the assistance already provided by the United States Trade Representative's Office so far, as well as future trade agreements to be concluded between the two countries. While noting that Sri Lanka is a country that possesses a recovering small economy, President Dissanayake highlighted that Sri Lanka can still be adversely impacted by external shocks. The president further underlined that every decision made should focus on strengthening the long-term bilateral relationship between Sri Lanka and the United States. Meanwhile, a pre-budget discussion with stakeholders of the apparel sector took place yesterday at the Presidential Secretariat, chaired by President Anurakumara Dissanayake. During this discussion, representatives of small and medium-scale enterprises in the apparel sector, including the Joint Apparel Association Forum and the Free Trade Zone Manufacturers Association, presented budget proposals customized to each sector. During the discussion, President Dissanayake emphasized that the government's objective is to achieve future economic growth targets based on the country's current stability. The president further stressed that the government will remain fully committed to investing in the development of essential infrastructure required by industries and investors. The president further highlighted that by providing the necessary facilities for existing industries, it would be possible to reach the initial growth targets. The president also emphasized that it is the government's policy to ensure every rupee is directed towards the most productive investment. The representatives of the apparel industry expressed their appreciation to the president for the government's intervention, which led to the reduction of tariff rates imposed on Sri Lanka by the United States under the reciprocal tariff system, and requested further intervention to secure additional concessions in the future. They further expressed appreciation for the government's digitalization initiatives, including the development of online systems and the transition from the simplified value-added tax to the standard VAT scheme. The industry stakeholders also proposed further improvements to tax collection mechanisms, such as expanding facilities like the e-invoice system. President Anurakumara Dissanayake, while thanking stakeholders for their proposals based on long-standing experience in the sector, instructed officials of the Ministry of Finance to study the suggestions carefully and prepare an action plan outlining urgent measures that need to be taken.
හොඳම ෆෝන් එකක් ගන්න. ළඟම බාන්ස් එකට යන්න.
Now, the Bribery Commission's Director General Ranga Dissanayake says that the procedure of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption could be legally challenged over serious legal impediments and contradictions with other existing laws. These facts were revealed before the Public Finance Committee. Against this backdrop, the chairman of the Committee on Public Finance, MP Dr. Harsha De Silva, urged Parliament today to amend the Public Finance Management Act in a bid to further bolster the institutional independence of the Bribery Commission and the Auditor General's Department.
This
is a very unfortunate situation. The first commission was set up in 1994. However, until now, all court proceedings on bribery and corruption are taken up only in Colombo. On certain occasions, we spent 20,000 rupees to travel to Jaffna for a bribery case worth only 2,000 rupees. The most unfortunate aspect is that all witnesses must come down to Colombo to provide evidence in court. These concerns can easily be addressed if judicial power is decentralized. Additionally, we have also proposed the establishment of bribery commission officers in each district. Under Section 26(1) of the Anti-Corruption Act, the commission must possess a permanent staff. However, that has not been the case since the 15th of September 2023. This lapse has occurred since Section 26(1) of the Anti-Corruption Act stipulates that the permanent staff must be chosen by Parliament. However, this particular legislative provision contradicts the Public Finance Management Act. Former Justice Minister, President's Counsel Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa gazetted the Anti-Corruption Act to take effect on September 15th. After the act was brought into effect, the previous commission was dissolved while a new commission was set up. Therefore, new staff members must be appointed to the commission pursuant to Section 26(1) of the Act. However, since no new recruitments were done, the previous staff continued to work. Meanwhile, 63 officials who were particularly hired by the commission were given the choice to either continue with the commission or to exit the commission by way of a VRS. That is what the Act provided. In other words, if on the 15th of September all police and government officers were dismissed from service, only 63 officials would have remained with the commission. My fear is if the commission's modus operandi would be challenged legally. Police officers cannot be a part of the commission at all. Neither can government officials. This issue has caused me severe concern. This is illegal. If there is no financial independence, institutional independence would be limited. There are significant differences between the Sinhala and English versions of this Act.
Chairman of the Committee on Public Finance, Dr. Harsha De Silva, shared facts uncovered at the hearing in Parliament today.
The government needs to take a policy decision regarding the independence of the Bribery Commission. The Public Finance Management Act passed in 2024 invalidates all previous legislative enactments in this regard and consolidates power of public finance under this act passed in 2024. A single institution was released from being regulated by the Public Finance Management Act. That institution is the central bank. However, there are two other institutions of which the relevant budgets have to be passed by Parliament. One is the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. The other is the Auditor General's Department. All members agreed to provide full independence to the Bribery Commission and the Auditor General's Department through the budget. That stance was taken because accusations could be levelled at any preceding or subsequent government over impeding institutional independence by curbing the disbursement of funds through the Ministry of Finance. Therefore, what we propose is an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act excluding the Bribery Commission and the Auditor General's Department from being funded by the Ministry of Finance. This will guarantee institutional independence.
The import of substandard fuel by the Hambantota Magampura Port Management Company has caused a whopping loss of $24 million to the government. The loss was uncovered when officials of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority appeared before the Committee on Public Enterprises. The Magampura Port Management Company was formed on the 5th of July 2013. The management of the Hambantota Port was handed over to the company through a duly formed management contract. The company also obtained a license from the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to supply oil to the Hambantota Port. Commencing its operations in 2014, the company obtained a loan of $24 million from a private bank. The Magampura Port Management Company secured the loan facility after placing the Sri Lanka Ports Authority as a corporate guarantee. $18.82 million out of the credited amount had not been repaid as at the 31st of December 2023. In 2019, the bank filed two separate lawsuits with the Colombo District Court against the Magampura Port Management Company and the Ports Authority to recover the money lent. The loan obtained was misused while the Ports Authority faces legal proceedings. When were complaints lodged with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption and, as you said, the CID regarding the procurement of substandard fossil fuels?
The complaint was lodged in 2024. However, from time to time, company executives were summoned to record statements since 2016. We were duly informed subsequent to ministry-level consultations with the Attorney General. The Ports Authority lodged a complaint by August of 2024.
That is not my concern. The company has not fulfilled its responsibilities. How do you intend to set off the loss already caused by the company without burdening the taxpayer? That is what is unclear to me.
සර් මම 2023 තමයි ඉන්ටර්නල් ඔඩිට් එක චීෆ් ඉන්ටර්නල් ඔඩිටර් උනේ.
අඩුම ගානේ ආයතන ඇතුලේ පරීක්ෂණයක් තිබ්බද මේ නිලධාරීන්ගෙන් charge කරන්න පුළුවන් හරි මොකක් හරි විදියක් තියෙන්නේ පැය.
එහෙම මොකද දන්නේ නැහනේ. අපි අහන්නේ මොකද්ද ඔබතුමාලා මේකට කරන්න කියලා අපුවම ඒක ගැන ලෑස්තිලා ඉන්න එපා අඩුම තරම.
ඔය ගෙනාපු තෙල් වලට මොකද උනේ?
තෙල් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? මේකේ තියෙනවා නුසුදුසු තෙල්.
ඒකට
මොකද නුසුදුසු තෙල් කියන්නේ?
ඒ කියන්නේ නැව් වලට ගහන තෙල්.
The stock of fuel in question was intended to be pumped into ships. However, they were deemed substandard and unsuitable for use. In 2017, when the port was handed over to the HIPS companies, the authorities were asked to empty the fuel tanks within which the substandard fuel was stored. Since the fuel in question was imported by the company called tenders to dispose the substandard fuel.
බහර කරලා තිබුණා.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඩොලර් මිලියන 24ම අපතේනේ.
Now, SJB parliamentarian Kabir Hashim has been appointed the new chair of the Committee on Public Accounts for the first session of the 10th Parliament. The committee convened in Parliament today to elect the new chairman. This appointment fills the vacancy created on the 6th of August this year following the resignation of NPP parliamentarian Aravind Senarath, who served as the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts for the first session of the 10th Parliament. Subsequently addressing the committee, the new chair, MP Kabir Hashim, states that he expects to carry out his duties in a neutral manner, free from political bias, with the cooperation of all members. He further expressed his special appreciation for the work done by the former chair, MP Aravind Senarath, and stated that he expects to carry out the responsibilities of his office even more effectively. Moreover, the new chair indicates that he is prepared to take the necessary measures to further systemize the functions of the COPA committee by formulating new plans. Welcome back. Now in your business news, the Colombo Stock Exchange closed in negative territory today as a result of price losses in counters such as Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC, Melster Corp PLC and Brown's Investment PLC. The benchmark ASPI lost 0.14% to close at 20,612.40, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 decreased by 0.22% to end the day at 5,873.12. Market turnover was for 5.8 billion rupees. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers of loading shares worth 1.1 billion rupees. Now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rates during the day. Well, that's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.